And look at him, he's sending a whole school to college. You know, if they want to go to college, they can go to college. I mean, wow. I mean, most schools would jump up in the air and click their heels at getting that kind of financial support. So, you know, I'm not going to be on LeBron's case, you know, like dragging him down. I just want him to, you know, think about.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just dropped a bombshell that has the entire basketball world in chaos. The NBA's all-time leading scorer didn't hold back. He called out LeBron James, questioned his legacy, and claimed the GOAT debate we'd been having for years is nothing but a manufactured lie. This isn't just another old school versus new school argument. This is personal. This is about respect, about history, and about what it really means to be the greatest. Kareem didn't just throw shade, he torched everything LeBron's built, and the fallout? It's uglier than anyone expected.
And then I have to ask you this, finally, once and for all. Who is the greatest of all time? Jordan, LeBron, or you? You have to answer. You have to answer.
I'll answer. The GOAT committee meets in secret. Okay? So that's just something we're not going to know about, you know. But if LeBron breaks my record in this next year coming up, that will be one last record that I won't have to worry about ever again.
Something happened in early January 2025 that nobody saw coming. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the man who held the all-time scoring record for nearly 4 decades, the 6-time MVP, the legend who revolutionized the game with a skyhook, sat down for an interview that was supposed to be a simple reflection on his career. Instead, he unleashed absolute chaos. The conversation started innocently enough. Questions about his playing days, his thoughts on the modern game, his legacy. But then the interviewer asked about LeBron James, and that's when everything went sideways. Kareem's face hardened. You could see it in his eyes. This wasn't going to be one of those polite, diplomatic answers legends usually give about current stars. No, he was about to go there. The GOAT debate? Kareem said, shaking his head slowly. It's fake. It's manufactured. It's a media creation designed to sell narratives, not celebrate actual greatness. The room went silent. The interviewer tried to clarify, but Kareem wasn't done. LeBron is a phenomenal talent. Nobody's disputing that. But this constant need to crown him as the greatest ever, it's disrespectful to the game's history. It's disrespectful to those of us who built this league. And honestly, it's based on nothing but hype in marketing. The internet exploded within hours. Screenshots of Kareem's quotes flooded Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. The battle lines were drawn immediately. Team Kareem versus Team LeBron. Old school versus new school. And caught in the middle, the entire concept of greatness itself.
Well, I think people will remark on the quality of his presence in 3 different cities and brought the championship each time. That's pretty impressive, and I think if that is his only legacy, it's extraordinary. But he's done a lot more than that, both on the court and off the court, and that's why I have a lot of respect for him, the way that he's involved politically.
Here's what most casual fans don't know. Kareem and LeBron's relationship has been complicated for years. This wasn't the first time Kareem had criticized LeBron, but it was definitely the most brutal. Go back to 2018. LeBron made comments about social activism and using his platform. Kareem, who's been an activist since the 1960s, publicly questioned whether LeBron truly understood the depth of the struggles he was speaking about. It was subtle, but the message was clear. Respect your elders. Understand the history. Then there were the basketball critiques. Kareem has repeatedly suggested that LeBron's style of play, the team hopping, the super team building, the control over roster decisions, wasn't how true leaders operated. He never said it directly, but the subtext was obvious. Real legends stayed and built dynasties. They didn't chase rings by hand-picking their teammates. But the real turning point came in February 2023. LeBron broke Kareem's all-time scoring record. It was supposed to be a beautiful passing of the torch moment. Kareem was there, in the arena, standing courtside as LeBron hit the record-breaking shot. The two embraced, Kareem handed him the ball. It looked perfect for the cameras. But if you watched closely, if you really paid attention, something felt off. Kareem's smile didn't quite reach his eyes. His congratulations statement was professional but cold. He praised LeBron's longevity and consistency, but never called him the greatest, never said he was better, just acknowledged the accomplishment. LeBron noticed. Everyone noticed, but nobody wanted to make it awkward, so the media ran with the feel-good story and moved on. Except Kareem didn't move on. He held on to something, and now, nearly 2 years later in January 2025, he's finally letting it all out.
Kareem did this. Kareem at age 38 was fucking awesome. He was the best player in the 1985 finals, and I know that because I went to the games, and he killed us. He destroyed us. He changed the series. He was 38 years old at the time. His 84-85 season, he turned 38 in April. In the finals, he was 26-9, 60% shooting in the finals. In his 85-86 season, when he was 38, turning into 39, he averaged.
Let's break down exactly what Kareem said in that interview, because his words weren't just criticism. They were a systematic dismantling of LeBron's entire legacy argument. The media loves narratives, Kareem explained. They loved the Jordan narrative in the 90s. Now they love the LeBron narrative. But here's the truth. Greatness isn't just about stats or championships you assembled by choosing your teammates. It's about how you elevated the game. It's about innovation. It's about facing adversity and conquering it where you were planted. The interviewer pushed back, mentioning LeBron's 4 championships, his all-around game, his basketball IQ. Kareem wasn't having it. 4 championships? That's great. I have 6. But let's talk about how those championships were won. Did you build a team organically, or did you call up your friends and decide where you all wanted to play? There's a difference between being a great player and being a great leader. A great leader doesn't run from competition. He destroys it. That line hit different. Social media went absolutely insane. The implication was crystal clear. LeBron's legacy was built on shortcuts, not substance. But Kareem wasn't finished. He went deeper, questioning the very foundation of how we measure greatness in the modern era. The GOAT debate has become a popularity contest. It's about who has the biggest social media following, who has the best marketing team, who can control the narrative the best. That's not basketball. That's celebrity culture pretending to be sports analysis. He then made a comment that felt especially personal. When I broke the scoring record back in 1984, I didn't need the entire league to stop and celebrate me. I didn't need a ceremony. I just did my job, respected those who came before me, and kept playing. The record was a byproduct of consistency and skill, not a campaign for GOAT status. The subtext? LeBron made too big a deal about breaking the record. He celebrated himself too much. He lacked the humility true legends possessed. And then came the knockout punch. If we're being honest, the GOAT debate is fake because we're comparing across eras without context. But if you force me to engage in it, LeBron isn't even in my top 3. And that's not hate, that's just facts when you look at complete careers, competition faced, and how greatness was achieved. The basketball world had never heard Kareem be this blunt. This wasn't elderly wisdom, this was warfare.
Within 24 hours, every major sports network was covering the story. ESPN dedicated entire segments to it. FS1 had heated debates. Social media turned into an all-out battlefield. The LeBron defenders came out swinging. They pointed to his versatility, his longevity, his ability to dominate in an era with more talent than ever before. They called Kareem bitter, jealous, unable to accept that his records had been broken and his era had passed. Kareem's just mad that nobody talks about him anymore. one popular NBA analyst posted. LeBron passed him in every meaningful way, and he can't handle it. This is what bitterness looks like. But Team Kareem had ammunition too. They argued that modern players had it too easy. Shorter playoff series and earlier rounds, load management, luxury travel, advanced sports science. They said LeBron's career was manufactured by Nike and media companies who needed a face to replace Jordan. Kareem played through injuries, faced tougher defenses, and never complained, one former player tweeted. He's earned the right to speak his mind. Maybe instead of attacking him, LeBron fans should ask why a legend feels the need to say this in the first place. The generational divide became impossible to ignore. Fans over 40 largely sided with Kareem. They remembered when loyalty mattered, when players didn't choose their teams like free agents in a video game. Younger fans, who grew up watching LeBron, saw Kareem as a relic, unable to appreciate modern greatness. But here's what made this controversy so explosive. Neither side was completely wrong. Both had valid points, and that ambiguity made the debate even more vicious. Sports talk shows became unwatchable. Every segment was the same argument in different words. Analysts yelled over each other, fans flooded comment sections with essays defending their side. Even current players started subtly choosing sides through social media activity, liking certain posts, following certain accounts. What started as one interview had become a full-scale cultural war about how we define greatness, respect legacy, and honor the past while celebrating the present. Here's where things got really interesting. LeBron said nothing, at least not directly. For someone who's usually very active on social media, very willing to defend himself and his legacy, LeBron went radio silent on the Kareem situation. No tweets, no Instagram posts, no press conference addressing it, just silence. But was it really silence, or was it strategic? 2 days after Kareem's interview dropped, LeBron posted a cryptic message on Instagram, a photo of himself holding the ball after breaking the scoring record with the caption, "Real ones know, history speaks for itself." No mention of Kareem, no direct response, but the message was clear. I don't need to defend myself. The numbers, the achievements, the legacy, it all speaks for itself. His supporters rallied around this approach. They praised LeBron for taking the high road, for not engaging in petty back and forth with a legend who was clearly trying to stay relevant. But critics saw it differently. They interpreted the silence as avoidance, as an inability to actually address Kareem's substantive points. If the GOAT debate is fake, as Kareem claimed, why couldn't LeBron just say so? Why the cryptic posts instead of a real response? Behind the scenes, sources close to LeBron's camp suggested he was furious, that the silence wasn't Zen-like peace, it was calculated restraint. One anonymous teammate supposedly said, "Bron's pissed. He respects Kareem, which is why he's not going nuclear, but trust me, he wanted to." LeBron's longtime business partner and friend posted a defense without being asked, saying, "It's wild how legends get amnesia about their own careers. Nobody's legacy is perfect, glass houses and all that." The indirect approach became its own storyline. Was LeBron scared to engage? Was he being mature? Was the silence itself a power move, refusing to give Kareem's words more oxygen? Other current superstars started weighing in carefully. One mentioned in an interview, "Look, Kareem's entitled to his opinion, but LeBron's resume speaks for itself. Sometimes the older generation just doesn't understand how different the game is now." That comment only fueled the fire more. It confirmed the generational divide and gave Kareem's supporters more ammunition. See, modern players don't respect the past. Meanwhile, LeBron kept playing. Every game became a statement. Every highlight was analyzed through the lens of the controversy. Was he playing angry? Was he trying to prove Kareem wrong? Or was he genuinely unbothered? The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, but that ambiguity made for incredible drama.
So where does this leave us? What does this controversy actually mean for basketball, for legacy, for how we remember greatness? Let's start with LeBron. Can his legacy actually be damaged by Kareem's words? In the short term, absolutely. This isn't some random analyst or bitter former player. This is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the most accomplished players in NBA history. His opinion carries weight, whether you agree with it or not. The problem for LeBron is that Kareem articulated something a lot of people, especially older fans, have quietly felt for years, that his greatness, while undeniable, came with asterisks. The super teams, the control over rosters, the multiple teams, the narrative management. None of that makes him not great, but it makes the GOAT comparison more complicated than his supporters want to admit. But here's the other side. In 20 years, will this interview matter? Will anyone remember Kareem's criticisms? Or will they just see LeBron's name at the top of all the statistical categories? History tends to smooth out controversies over time. Stats become permanent. Drama fades. Now let's talk about Kareem. Did he hurt his own legacy by going this hard at LeBron? Maybe. There's a risk that he comes off as bitter, as a legend unable to handle not being the center of attention anymore. Some of the greatest players in history have damaged their post-career reputations by taking unnecessary shots at current stars. But there's also an argument that Kareem's honesty is refreshing. In an era where everyone gives politically correct, media-trained responses, he said what he actually thinks. Right or wrong, that authenticity resonates with people tired of manufactured narratives. The deeper question Kareem raised is actually the most important one. Is the GOAT debate fake? And honestly, he might have a point. The GOAT debate has become less about basketball and more about marketing, social media engagement, and generational tribalism. It's not a sincere attempt to understand greatness. It's content creation. It's clickbait. It's arguments that can never be resolved because they're comparing completely different eras with different rules, different competition, and different contexts. Michael Jordan played in a hand-check era with different defensive schemes. LeBron James played in a pace and space era with different athletic standards. Kareem played in an era with no three-point line and different physicality. How do you compare that? You can't, not objectively. So maybe Kareem's right. Maybe the whole debate is fake. Maybe we should stop trying to rank legends against each other and just appreciate greatness when we see it, in whatever form it takes. But here's the problem. That's boring. Debates drive engagement. Arguments keep people watching. The GOAT conversation might be fake, but it's also incredibly entertaining. And in the social media age, entertainment often matters more than truth. But here's what we need to ask ourselves. If Kareem's criticisms are valid, what does that say about how we've been talking about basketball for the past decade? And if they're not valid, if they're just bitterness from a legend who can't handle being surpassed, then why do they sting so much? The controversy isn't going away. It's not supposed to. This is modern sports culture. This is what happens when legacies collide and narratives compete. Someone's always going to be upset. Someone's always going to feel disrespected. The real question is, when the dust settles, whose version of history will we remember? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't just criticize LeBron James. He challenged everything we think we know about greatness, legacy, and how history should remember this era of basketball. Whether you agree with him or not, whether you think he's right or bitter, one thing is undeniable. This conversation is far from over. The GOAT debate might be fake, as Kareem claims, but the emotions behind it, those are very, very real. And as long as legends keep speaking their minds and fans keep defending their heroes, this war will rage on. If you made it this far, drop a comment below. Team Kareem or Team LeBron? Do you think the GOAT debate is fake, or is it a legitimate way to honor greatness? Let's keep this conversation going, and don't forget to subscribe, because this story is just getting started, and you know we'll be covering every single development as it unfolds.